Crazy camp life, votes, and tribals, the life of a survivor is more than you see on TV. So if you need the scoop on island survival, crack a coconut, put on some rice, and let's spill the immunity. Hey everybody, I changed the camera. Look at that. I know. I thought I'd make better shorts.
And scoot back a little bit. There we go.
Yeah, I know. It's like, ooh, and I got to get taller. I don't know. I'm not that tall.
My eyes are as big as Kendra's right now.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. We are diving into episode 7 of Survivor season 45. All right. Now that we're awake and have had coffee, because I think I needed coffee for last night's episode. What do we think?
Caleb, your boy.
I know.
Yeah.
Someone had to say it. I mean, your guy's gone, and I tell you what, when in the history of Survivor should anybody trust not only a salesman but a lawyer? Katurah almost teamed up with those two guys to take on the rest of the castaways on a game show of deception. So well done, Katurah, for I think getting away from a simple, easy win for her. But man, a salesman and a lawyer, never a good combo to team up with. Good job.
No. Yeah. I mean, Katurah's, I really thought, that she would have more of a target on her than she does. I'm surprised by that. I think that if they're smart, they'll get rid of her soon. But I think there were some people that will definitely have targets coming up next week that should be going home. Kendra, I think, is one of them.
Yeah.
I think Kendra's I got the most to worry about right now.
Well, I think this was the first episode where the hour and a half was maybe a disservice because they only did one challenge, and then they tried to make it seem like the votes were going to go maybe in a different direction than the obvious direction, but it was Sifu and Caleb voted out, which I think we all kind of saw coming, kind of how things were playing out and how the tribes switched. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they said, the preview for next episode was an all-girl alliance because now, it's pretty heavy on, female, how many women there are versus men. So we could see that. But I was really excited because we said last week we were voting for Reba. We think Julie and Dee really got the game down. When they split the tribes for the challenge, I mean, Drew was kind of hanging out there. I thought, oh, maybe Drew's going to be on the chopping block. But as far as that Reba Core 4 alliance, the split couldn't have been any better.
Yeah. Is it Alex? Is he the tall blonde-haired guy? Or who's the only one of the 4 that went to the
Drew?
Yeah.
No, I won't take offense to that.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, good. Thank you. So Drew, he didn't get any airtime. I mean, he must have just stayed quiet. Only when he needed to talk did he talk, because I thought he would have needed to do a little bit more scrambling, being the loner of the 4, but he was cool, calm, and collected. So well done, Drew.
Yeah, he was he left his bag back at the other camp, so he didn't have his advantage. And, I kind of wanted to dive into the challenge itself because we were talking before we started. We have some thoughts. We got to talk about it. It's an epic challenge. We see it all the time. It's a classic, as they said when they walked into it, but what happened?
It's a classic because it goes on forever, or it should, and not 17 minutes of, oh, we're done now. I see this on the last 4 seasons. I think that besides the challenge of where they had to stay underwater, and that was a record that they set, awesome. But a lot of these endurance challenges are ending a lot quicker than they used to. And I don't think the poll's any different, right?
No, it looks the same.
Yeah, so I don't know what that is, but 17 minutes. I think we all could have done that. We all are immunity winners, Bree and Alex.
Yeah. I had a thought on so first of all, Jeff did say during the episode, you can be on any, you can start anywhere you want on the pole. And my thought immediately was, why would I climb all the way to the top of the pole and wear myself out just getting up there? Right. Because for me, I'd be like, this is impossible. why wouldn't I start and keep all that extra energy because it's endurance? So I want to have retained as much energy as possible to stay where I'm at. I mean, I get the slip could happen, but maybe go halfway up and save. Does that make sense? Like I thought
Do
that
they
was
show them putting like climbing up? Because I thought they would like place them up there, but if they have to climb up, I mean, I couldn't climb up a pole like that.
Yeah, I don't think I could have
Maybe.
either. And I'm trying to think of past challenges. Who who was at the top of that pole that I was like, there's no way that that person climbed that pole. And I don't know either. Maybe I'm not maybe correct, but with that challenge, isn't the spots on the top of the pole a little bit thicker for their feet than at the bottom of the pole, or is that a different thing? I don't know.
that's the ledge one, I think, where like they start and the footholds are bigger, and as they go down, they get really, really small.
I don't know
So
why. Yeah, I agree with you, Bree.
so yeah, I don't know. And Dee's toes, man.
Dee's toes. Yeah, they were foreshadowing it all season. And even Dee had a little chuckle on it. She was like, oh my God, this is what I'm going to be known for, right? As the toes finally came into play, the big toe. And I was saying, how many times did they zoom in on the toe? I mean, Dee's toe is now a player in the game. Yeah.
It's got its own buff and everything.
Right. Yeah, it's got its own buff. Yeah.
But here's what one of my surprises, and I was, Austin has called himself the smart Aussie. I've made comments about it on this show a few times because I thought that was really funny. But when you call yourself that, you are comparing yourself, you're actually elevating yourself over an epic survivor player in Ozzy. I mean, this is, they've called Ozzy like Tarzan, like he swings from branches and climbs coconut trees, and it's like he was born there and can just do all of these crazy things. And then you go up a pole, and what did he was early to mid on his coming down.
Can I ask this question? This might be a controversial question for you Survivor people, but do you think Ozzy was a smart player?
No, not really. I mean, he never really made it to the end. He got voted out very early. He wasn't really a very good social player. He pissed a lot. He was very arrogant on some seasons, and kind of rubbed people the wrong way. But he was, like Bree said, I mean, he was this amazing character, climbing up trees. They always said he's this Mowgli type person, and if you watch him on the seasons, I mean, he's walking in between trees like he's a monkey. Yeah. So he's an incredible player. I think he changed the game as far as like, fishing and kind of the athleticism and the, that type of thing. But as far as a strategic player, I don't think he was ever very good because he had such, he overestimated his kind of abilities socially and how much people valued his Mowgli-esque, and provider style. And yeah, go ahead.
Right. And so I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because I like the guy. I think he has good gameplay. I agree the fact that maybe he's not the smart Ozzy that he keeps on calling himself to be, but to be able to hold now for 13 days and to boost it up and to make it that immunity idol it now is, that's something I don't think Ozzy could have ever achieved in his gameplay. So I don't know.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I mean, the thing with Ozzy was he was the guy you want to keep around for just so long because you're going to eat. He's going to do well. He's going to crush the challenges for you. I mean, you want an Ozzy on your tribe, right? That's really, really important until you don't need him anymore, right? Like there's that, like you'll never take him that far because he's just he'll start winning too many things and he'll stay in the game, not from social game, but from just winning and having immunity. So you keep him as long as you can until you don't need him anymore, and then he goes. So and I think what he was doing was really smart. I'm going to be a necessity, right? They're going to want to eat. They're going to keep me around, so I'm a necessity to them. And I think that was really smart of him. Except when he came back again, and then he played the same role. And it's like, but it didn't get you anywhere. So that's where I think he really missed, was the biggest misstep, was when he came back for another season, because he should have taken note and made adjustments to his game and how he was playing. Unfortunately, but he's just a phenomenal physical player. And Austin definitely would be the smart, like he's just a little smarter player, but he doesn't have, I mean, except for I haven't seen him be like Ozzy, right?
Right.
Like be want to
Right.
be like Mike or whatever that was. Like he has to like do those things. And Ozzy was up on that pole. He set the record 2 hours and 15 minutes. And these guys were up, and I think Austin was up for like 8 minutes.
So maybe a smart Sebastian or a smart Wu or something like that might be a little bit more fitting for him.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know his justification for smart. I'm not saying he's not a smart guy, but he doesn't come across like like an Emily, or a Cochran, where he's very intellectual and like a scholar. I mean, he's a nice guy, smart. I always kind of described him as like, hey, like, whoa, he's kind of just a little bit, spacey to me. But yeah, you're not seeing any. Well, we talked about this. There's really not a lot of physical threats on this season to begin with. We said Dee and Kelly were probably the two. They have kind of that survivor strong female archetype where they just have this endurance. You can just kind of look at them and say, okay, this person could do well in an endurance challenge or in a dexterity challenge, or, they're just kind of a well-rounded player. And Dee had an interesting strategy that I don't know if I've ever seen. She wrapped her legs around and then like leaned back on it. She actually didn't use her toe. I mean, for a lot of it, she used her toe, but that was an interesting strategy that I had never really seen before. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it does. I'm guessing it does alleviate some pain or some, take away some weight from your legs or whatever part of your body you're working the most. So that does make sense. And that was a great 17 minutes that she was up there for.
Well, and you can't knock her because she would have stayed longer. Mm-hmm. But I mean, when you win, you get down, right? So, I knew Kelly wasn't going to make it through. I was like, Kelly. She gave it a good, valiant effort, and she got a necklace. So,
yeah, how cool. What do you guys think of the immunity necklace? Pretty cool, don't you think?
Good branding, same colors as the season. So, well done with that branding job.
I didn't notice that. Yeah, I was saying I really like the buffs, that orange and that like electric blue. I thought those were pretty. I might have to get one of those.
The fact that it's not black, I mean, at least we can tell the season apart from 25 other seasons. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, for sure. I love the necklace. I was working on the graphics for our cover art to the thumbnails today. And I had to make the necklace because I put it on the two players that got it. And so that took quite some doing, but it was really cool. And it wasn't that hard to make. So I was like, yeah, this is a really cool necklace. I like the beading and stuff that they put in it and the little skulls, which is kind of creepy, but cool. I liked it. I thought it was I think it's a great necklace. It's better than the tree log over in the UK. I don't know what I'm eager to see what they come up with over at the Survivor UK for their individual immunity necklace, because the log was like, I've seen so many funny jokes about it being, oh, we forgot to do that. I thought you were doing that. Like I didn't do it. Let's just slap some stuff. Who's got a glue gun? What's going on?
With what's in everybody's pocket? Everybody in their pocket.
Exactly. So I thought it was really cool to see the necklace and like get two of them right off the bat. I like that dynamic, but I was like, the sanctuary thing, the reward, just it like, don't they hide stuff at those anymore? They don't do that anymore either.
That's a good point. Yeah. So we had team 1, which was, we'll call it Dee, Julie, Jake, Caleb, Kat, and Austin. Okay. They were the ones who won on the team 1. And then there was team 2, which was Drew, Emily, Bruce, Kelly, Kendra, and Sifu. And so Dee wins it for her team, and they go to the sanctuary. And yeah, I mean, we were saying how that was pretty much the ideal breakdown for Julie and Dee, who we're kind of rooting for. But yeah, nothing really happened at the reward at the sanctuary. They ate some tacos and they said, "Oh, this is really great," and that was about it.
Yeah, I almost got up and went and got tacos myself. I was like, all right, well, if we're just going to eat tacos and not do anything, maybe it's time for a snack. Sorry, Survivor, I'll just take a step away. I didn't, but that's what it felt like. It just didn't have that excitement. Mm-hmm. What did you think, Brandon?
I thought the same thing. I was actually wondering more, why wasn't there any, or maybe there was. We don't see everything that takes place on the show. But I was wondering, was anybody thinking during that time the two things, who might go home another tribe and how will that benefit our game? I didn't hear any conversation on that and wish I could have, and maybe it wasn't worth it. But the second thing was, with this whole vote with the losers, was anybody thinking, hey, like this person's not going to make the merge. Who can I keep as a vote on the jury for one more thing, just to make sure he's on the jury? And I didn't hear any of that talk. Does that make sense?
It
I
does,
was
yeah.
hoping for more strategy about utilizing the fact that this person won't make the jury and how they can choose to keep people on their side that would vote for them in the future. And maybe it's too early for that. I don't know. But I kind of thought there'd be a little bit more conversation on those two things.
Yeah, 100%. I do want to, I want to talk a little bit about Sifu. He really just never got a really good shake on things. I think he's a little different. People weren't really connecting with him. Do you think that he had that awareness? Because I kind of felt like he did know a little bit and he just kept trying, and then he started trying too hard. And it just wasn't, none of the things that he was doing was really hitting with people, with his air guitar and his meditation and Tai Chi on the beach. And people, there was a lot of eye rolling going on.
Part of me thought that was him trying to be Yam Yam, to try to be somebody who's lovable and will have fun and different things like that. And I do give him a little bit of credit for the grasshopper dance or whatever that bug was on, episode prior. But I think hearing his kind of so long farewell speech he was given, he called himself a student of the game. And I think that kind of proved how he was playing the whole entire game so far. I don't think they ever tried to take a leadership position. And I don't think he was doing anything to really make his game go even further. It didn't seem like he was trying to create a whole lot of alliances. It didn't seem like he was putting up much of a fight. Or at least I don't think the edit showed any part of him trying to play defense once his name started becoming clearer and clearer.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I don't think he ever had his number two. Right. He never had somebody who he really connected with and that could kind of be maybe the more relatable person, to get him into an alliance. And so he always kind of stayed on the outside and was just, an easy vote. I think he was well liked. Somebody said, we don't want to take, kind of out of the box or kind of goofball people to the end. You've seen how they've done well in the past. Mm-hmm. I think he's just so likable and and he played a very loyal game too. I mean, he wasn't jumping around. He wasn't strategizing. He looked for the idol once at the beginning of the season and then never really did anything, with it again. So I was surprised. I mean, they should have gotten Drew out. I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, it was easy for Drew. I think it was just the easy vote. Both of the votes that happened, Sifu and Caleb, were the easy vote. I think it didn't really shake up the game. Nobody was going to be upset about it. But that was Blue Team's chance to get him out. And then, I mean, I guess from their perspective, Sifu, since he is so loyal and probably wouldn't betray Reba, Red, might as well get him out because they're going to have to get him out eventually. But yeah, I thought it was especially with Drew leaving his idol back at camp and not, and then after the challenge, because they lost, they had to go to Lulu. I was like, oh my God. When Drew said, well, I have the idol where I can leave, I was like, yes. And then he's like, but I left it at home. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's going home. And I like Drew because he is a player. And I think that's what we saw in this episode too, is that the people who want to play, they're really playing now. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're playing. I know it was an easy vote, but you've seen this change since the merge of everybody is like, I want to talk to everybody. I want to be in and they really are trying to play the game, the modern game of strategizing, changing alliances, and playing a game that deserves winning, right? Everyone's trying to figure out what that game is for them.
And I was trying to think of the person right now in this season that is on the low end of the not that they are going to get voted out or not liked or whatever, but who hasn't done something, who hasn't made relationships. And I think the well's empty on that. I think everybody's pretty much playing a game where they are making the conversation. And Bruce might be on the bottom of that. However, Bruce is still watching like a hawk, I think. Every time they show him, it seems like he's trying to gain perception and trying to figure out how he can use the information he's hearing or not hearing to his advantage.
100%. Yeah, I think Bruce will be pretty much next to go. I really think that they are pretty, if they can get the votes, they'll put them on Bruce. Whether he plays his idol or not, I think that'll come into question on what will happen. But I think the thing with Sifu, and I wanted to mention this, a couple things with him. First, I think he got voted out because it was convenient and it wouldn't it wouldn't put a target on anyone else for like, oh, you voted one of my people out kind of a thing. So he just was a victim of circumstance. But there was also the thing that he said at the confessional, which really struck me. And I think it really sums up his game. And he said, it's my dream to make it on the jury. Really? Because your dream should be to win. But when you're like, I just want to make it on the jury, then you're kind of like setting yourself up to not do as well. And I don't think if you ask anyone like what their dream for Survivor is, any of them would say, it's my dream to make the jury. Really? Like that they're there to win. I mean, why do you go through all that?
Those people have already quit the show this year. So
yeah, exactly. Right. They're like, oh, this isn't worth it.
Right. We're done.
So, I mean, I think that was, it wasn't like no one else heard it. So they weren't like, oh, we don't care. Like, we'll just send him because of that. But I think it sums up like the way he was playing the game. So to me, it was like, okay, well, I guess you're done then, see ya.
Well, for being a martial artist, being a master instructor, he said, I'm a master instructor, but I'm a student of the game. For being a master instructor, for being a martial artist, that pole hanging challenge, I mean, that to me, that's like a Mr. Miyagi, that's like a archetypal, like you see that in a movie, the sensei is like, hang on the pole and don't get off. Right. And I know that challenge is really more for like kind of scrawnier people who don't have a lot of weight pulling down on them, but activate that mindset, Sifu. He needed that challenge. And like you said, nobody really put up a fight. I just expected a little bit more athleticism, but, I don't know. Do we know how old is Sifu? I mean, he's not a young guy, but he's not old. I mean, I don't think he has an excuse for not giving up more of a fight on that challenge, considering the stakes and how he kind of knew he was probably going to go home.
Well, that challenge really goes into, sorry, Brandon, but that challenge really goes into body types. So the women should be doing better just because they have so much less body weight. They're just these little tiny things. So they're not holding up as much. And Sifu's a big dude, right? Like he's muscular. He's got a lot muscle, weighs a lot. And it's like, so I can see how it would be awkward. I was surprised Caleb gave, because Caleb's got these really long arms. And like, I thought he would be able to wrap around it and hold so much tighter without as much. I mean, he's tall guy, but still doesn't have that bulky body weight that Sifu has. So I had higher expectations for Caleb on that pole.
I almost wonder if this is one of those challenges where after the fact, they like, man, I should have practiced on some pole somewhere in my neighborhood, this technique, because I'm sure there's a couple, and I haven't seen anything about this, but maybe there's 2 or 3 techniques like you saw this past week or this past episode that was it D that used that fancy move, or was that Kelly? Whichever one, the move you talked about.
D.
If there are, that there are a couple different little techniques that you could try out on that pole to make you last a little bit longer than 17 minutes.
Yeah. It was a little disappointing. I wanted to move into Caleb's downfall because we saw it last week. People were wise to him. They were really understanding what was going on, and they saw him as a huge target. But he had that time. He did have some time to try to redeem that, to try to make a stronger alliance with some people. How do you think he did on that? Obviously not well, but like,
yeah. Well, you had, and we said this last week, was it a record that he had 12 votes on him, but it was really 11 and nobody else really picked up on that. And so Austin has that secret idol, but Caleb was this big threat. And it seemed like, Survivor was kind of giving the impression that the tide was turning, that maybe they would save him. And his threat level was now so obvious that, to keep him as a shield, as Jake said. But I think since there are so few threats out there, really like big threats, physical, all around threats, that everybody just saw the writing on the wall is like, hey, if we let this guy go any farther, he could really, he could go on a streak, he could go on a winning streak, and then you're going to be in a really bad position because he did have alliances. I mean, Kat was his big alliance. Emily was his big alliance. People could see, he could sneak in there. And I think Reba, even though Reba wasn't really on the side of that vote, well, and 2, right? Caleb, for being this master persuader, his closest ally, I think, the person who was committed to him most was Kat. And then it was revealed that they lied to Kat. When they were looking for the idol, that they blatantly lied to her. Jake was lying to her. And I don't even know why they had to tell her that. They didn't have to tell her that
It was
at that
Jake that
moment.
blew up Caleb's game. I think Caleb could have been on it, and it's because of that. I think someone commented on your glasses, Bree, and they look great. I think that Jake could have used your glasses whenever he first said the words, or when she said, "Oh, when you guys were looking for your ring," and he was like, "Yeah." I think it was that moment right there where Jake was like, "Oh shoot, I did not think this one out." Just like you didn't think out to tell everybody that he's a lawyer at the very beginning of this. And I think that's the reason why Jake is in the trouble he's in, because I think Katura is a smart girl that is thinking, wait, hold on, am I really pairing with these two? Is this my game? And I think Caleb could have done it, but I think the fact that Jake gave her too much information about that idol killed it.
Yeah. And Emily was ready to throw him under the bus. We saw her say that. Listen, it's not going to benefit my game to keep Caleb around.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have to lie to him, I have to lie to him. And that's just the way it's going to be. Like, she helped him out as much as she could, but now she's like, yeah, you know, if he's got to go, he's got to go. And I'll do what I have to do to protect my game. So even though she did feel aligned with Caleb, she was not going to hold the line for him going forward anyway. So there won't be any bad blood in her opinion with that vote, because, you know, Caleb had to go. She saw him for who he was.
And Emily might have a final 3 vote for her in Caleb for joining that jury. So like Emily is playing a game that I've never seen transform so fast. That's not Australia Survivor season 1 with Christy.
She's so reserved now. I mean, in Tribal, she's really small. She just is like almost unnoticeable.
And she doesn't have to build a resume right now. Like she's got 4 or 5 episodes she can coast with what she's already done in this game. So, oh my, she's in a good place.
What about Julie?
Yeah. Ooh.
Her name came up. She got votes.
Yeah. Well, I was saying Jake. We were saying Jake kind of went Rambo mode in this one. He's got this crazed look in his eyes now, and he's like, "I'm going to play and I'm going to make big moves." We were saying this. I don't know if he's the most. I don't know if he's the smartest player out there, or nothing against the guy, but it's just. I mean, that wasn't a good move. Obviously, targeting Julie. I mean, Julie's in a good spot. Julie kind of gives me Dawn. You know, if you remember Dawn. She's kind of got a Dawn aspect to it, but she's not like the emotional basket case that Dawn was on her season. But she's giving me kind of that Dawn vibe, and very strong. I mean, we said this before. Julie, I was going to call her Dawn. Julie and Dee, you know, so tight, and I could really see them going all the way to the end. If they do craft that girl alliance, I mean, they're the tightest girls. They're gonna, you know, destroy. So,
Julie's a lawyer. She is the lawyer that's staying hidden under a rock. And I think that, you know, I have 7 people in my top 3 right now, but Julie's one of my 7 in that top 3. And I think that I think she's safe. I think the only reason that they did throw her name out there was because of her tie to Dee. And we'll see if Dee's built way too big of a resume right now. Because Jeff even called her out. She said, "You're the reason for this tribal. You're the reason why someone's going home. You're the reason for this." And so Dee's resume is pretty big. Can she play it down? Do you think she has to kind of lay low?
I don't think she can. I think people are seeing it. And I think that, you know, the other thing, even though it wasn't the smartest of Jake to throw Julie's name down and talk like to put that spotlight on her, I think it's a really smart way to do it. You know, it brings me back to Coach. If you can't get rid of the head of the snake, then you got to get their number 2, right? And that's what Julie's becoming to Dee. And so, you know, I think Dee is really strong on her own, but I think she does rely on Julie a lot. Like, just having that gives her that extra. And so I think it's really smart to target Julie. If you can't get Dee, if she's going to win immunities or things like that, and she's not an option, yeah, you're going to want to strike against her. And I think here's the thing, right? And I think this might come into play. And it's probably the reason why so many of these girls, these women's alliances don't go forward, is because we're catty little bitches sometimes. And we don't you know what I mean? Like, if we see Dee as like the most important and Julie and those two are tight, and then what are they talking about? And are they talking about me? And like all of a sudden we build up all this drama, and it doesn't happen all the time. And not all women are like that. I'm going to throw that out there. But it's like those two are so tight that I think a lot of that, there's a lot of tension and distrust. And so it doesn't take a lot to like get them thinking, oh, what are they doing over there? What are they talking about? Why aren't I included in that conversation? I'm in their alliance. Why am I not there? And so when those kinds of things start to happen, that's when people will turn. And I think that could happen with Julie and Dee, because we don't see them talking to a lot of other people, really. I mean, Dee talks to like Drew a little bit in Austin, but I think they still have this part where they stand back, just the two of them. And so that gets noticed. Jake picked up on it right away.
So to all the females watching, my smile and nod when she said that was not an agreement. It just was a simple gesture. Second on that,
I'll take the flack for it. It's okay. It's my opinion. I'm a woman. I can say it. So
perfect. And so my question is this, and I don't know the answer to this. Bree, you might know the answer to this. Is there something about, with the whole girl power thing and Kelly and Dee being at the end, maybe they start having this huge competition between each other? Could that become an alliance in the future? That would work.
That would be really smart if they could pull that off.
They could pull it off.
Between who and who?
Between
Kelly.
Kelly and Dee.
Kelly and Dee.
Yeah,
that's like my dream alliance. But the reason I think it won't happen is because you have 6 women. You have Dee, Emily, Julie, Kat, Kelly, and Kendra, and then you have 4 guys: Bruce, Drew, Jake, and Austin. Okay, so if the girls fake a all-girl alliance, right? Well, then you still have the 4 Reba strong: Drew, Dee, Julie, and Austin. And that's really solid, right? And I think they 4 really want to go to the end together, because if Drew or Austin win immunity, they're going to take each other. The boys are going to take the boys and the girls are going to take the girls. And so there's almost a 50-50 chance for Dee and Julie, or for Austin and Drew, if one of the girls or one of the guys does win, that they're going to take one of them, right? You know what I mean by that? So yeah. I think that final 4 for all 4 of those people is really, really appealing, because they see their path to the end with either Julie and Dee or with Austin and Drew.
I agree with all that. My mind goes back to, wasn't there early pre-merge where the girls of that core 4 caught the boys of the core 4 looking for an idol, and there was a little bit of distrust in those two relationships?
Well, Austin has his hidden immunity idol, right? That he delayed, and he has that, and Julie and Dee don't know about that. And Drew does. I don't think Drew knows about it too.
I don't think,
or they didn't notice or something. Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think he said that as Drew's not paying attention, is what's his face said, that Drew's not paying attention to this thing happening because he didn't watch the votes to see that, there's not a 12th vote. He doesn't know that it is now an immunity idol.
The one path forward for Kelly into like that women's or Julie Dee is because Austin does have one of those advantages, right? The immunity, the amulet, right? And if they could blindside Austin, take out 2 advantages, one that they know about, and then team up with Kelly. But then I think that makes Kelly too much of a threat, because then she has a full-fledged idol against Reba. I don't know. I can't see them doing that, but that would be maybe one way in.
Yeah, and we haven't seen idol play this year, really. So I think it'll be interesting. I did want to point one thing out before I forget, because I forget a lot of things. Kelly named the tribe, and it's the first tribe in 45 seasons that uses the letter Q. Somebody pointed that out in the Tribe Has Spoken group, and I thought that was really interesting. It's like one of those like random facts that you can throw down when you're out and about. You're like, I got a fact from Survivor. This is the first season there's been a Q in the name of the tribe, the merged tribe. So I don't know if that, I thought I can't even pronounce the name. So
we'll have to collect our super fan facts. Right.
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting. I don't know who we're going to see in the end and how it's going to pan out. I think Kendra's going to have some pressure on her. Bruce is going to have some pressure on him, because Bruce is just not liked very well. And it's unfortunate because he's a really great guy, but he's just not doing great in Survivor. And I love that they said, I can tell Bruce only played 14 hours of Survivor, which I thought was funny, right? Because we're like, yeah, so see, it doesn't really matter because it's not helping him in his game right now. So Um, who if you were gonna pick next week's person out, who would you pick?
Whew. Oh boy.
Who would be the next good move? Because I think there are some. If you're playing chess, there's some good moves that could be done.
I think you have an answer, Bruce. I'm gonna buy some time by asking you first who you think it's gonna be.
I think they should get Julie out, but I don't think it will be Julie. So I think the next vote out, and you're gonna think this is crazy, I think it's gonna be Austin. I
Why do you
really,
think
really
that?
well, because I think they're gonna start splitting up with this girls thing, and I think it's gonna cause a rift between Dee and Austin because they've been so close, and I think there's gonna be something that happens there, and she's gonna just lose her trust in him in some way, and that'll be gone because I think that they're kind of like they did focus on Austin a little bit where he's like, I am so glad I did that last time when I sacrificed my vote and they don't know about it, and now I have a full-fledged idol. And I think that like he's been foreshadowing some things that he's doing that he's not telling her about. And I think she's going to catch wind of something. I think something's going to come out, and I see those two going at odds, especially when they do this all girls thing. I think it'll threaten Austin. I think it'll threaten Drew. And so they'll try to get people to go against Dee, and Dee will hear about it because she's got people everywhere.
So
And
do you
they'll
hold on to that all girls thing? Do you think it's going to be at least 5 in the top 6?
I think they'll hold on to the all girls thing for the next vote.
I don't know. I feel like the Girls Alliance was a head fake. By the next season, there's going to be a big shakeup. I don't know. I just don't see it. Because Kat. I mean, I think Kat wants. I think Kat wants to get close to Julie and Dee. She sees the writing on the wall that this is the power couple, and if she can ingratiate herself and get in there and be kind of the unlikable one that they could take, that isn't Drew and Austin. But it's a big play by her to change and to flip on her Bello Alliance and go back. So she'll have some explaining to do. But I don't know. Kendra was on this episode. She's like a basket case, a loose cannon. She's going around, and Bruce knew right away. At the start of the episode, he was like, or no, it was when they were going to tribal. He said, Kendra's saying my name right now. He's like, how did he know that? Well, it's because she's like wide-eyed, going around like she has zero chill. Kendra has zero chill. She can't.
I'll play poker with her any day.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like all these, Girl Alliance or All Guys Alliance, they never work out. They never really go, generally they really never go the distance with those like identity-based like groups because they're so easy to fracture. And it's such an easy thing to play against, right? Conceptually. Because it's like, oh, all girls. Well, if I bring in one guy, well, then, the whole dynamic changes and I can be on the top of this, new type of alliance. And I don't know, do people respect all girl alliances at the very end? Because if it's an all girl alliance, then who's the mastermind of that all girl alliance?
Yeah, I don't think it sometimes plays out well, but I don't think, I don't think it's going to make it that far anyway. I really, really don't. I had Caleb obviously as my top 3, but then now that he's gone, I still see if Julie can make it through all this and not get, the second in command kind of spot, and because she is a lawyer. We forget that she's a lawyer because she's really, really good at not playing that up, right? Of like really like nobody knows and you really can't tell, but she does think that way. I think she'll cut Dee before they get that far. I think she will be smart enough to realize that she can't win against Dee. Like as we they build out their resumes, they're gonna be like, oh, like these people are just too strong. Dee is way too strong, and I think her downfall will come from within. So whoever's in that tight circle, Kat could be part of that. Julie, the time is coming. Like they're going to start. We're going to see now as we're getting down and we got the top 10, what's going to happen because there aren't that many tribals left. I mean, it feels like a long way to the end, but it's really coming fast. And so they're going to start looking at, I can bring that person to this point, and then they've got to go. And I have to have the right people around me who are going to vote with me to get rid of this person and see the value in cutting them when they do. I think Kendra and Kelly are right that Bruce is a good shield, but he's going to piss enough people off that he goes either next week or the week after he has to, because he is a loose cannon, right? And you can't predict where he's going to vote. He'll do what he wants. And so, and I would have liked to have gotten him off before the jury, right? I think that would have been the move, but they were a little unsure when the jury votes were going to go through. So they should have taken Bruce out instead of Sifu, in my opinion. That would have been smarter. But I don't know. I think D could go all the way. They could do a girls, but I don't know if it's gonna. I don't know. I just don't see them doing that.
We've kind of left Emily out of the conversation a little bit, but the path forward for Emily is with Drew, right? Because that's kind of her closest relationship. They're very similar in their temperament and their appearance and their intellectualness. Well, with Drew always comes Austin. So then that's 3. And then you can bring in somebody like Kelly or Kat, and then they can focus on D, right? So it could be that Emily is the one who pushes towards getting these women out, and she's the one who's able to convince Drew and Austin. And that's their new girl alliance, right? Is the Emily, and then she can facilitate a relationship with, I don't know, Kelly.
I think Emily's going to play a really pivotal part. Maybe season, maybe 6th episode or top 6 or something like that, because I think Emily could be in the power play of the core 4, to where there's 4 of them left. And then Emily, no one really knows this great relationship she has with Drew. They're just thinking, oh, Emily's going to come with us as a 5th member of this core 4. We'll quickly get her out. And then they're like, wait, hold on. She's kind of with us, and votes out either Julie or D in that case. And man, I think that could be a final 5. I'm ready to rule out Kendra. I don't think she is going to win this. I think she's playing way too defensively and just trying to be a part of the majority. But I think she's going to stay in a while. I think Bruce is unfortunately going to stay in for a while. And I'm going to start counting the amount of times that people are saying we should have gone for Bruce. We should have gone for Bruce, because it's getting to that level of, does he win this or does he get the top 3? So I think who's left in that is that whole Jake Katura situation, where will people start thinking that Katura is this Michaela type figure, to where she is smart, she doesn't really have any allegiances to anybody, let's get her out before she starts really playing this game. So I think Katura might be gone next round.
Yeah, that's a good call. That's a good call, as far as, because she's an easy vote now. She has no alliance.
Right? No alliance, and she just got done playing a pretty I think a smart play. And Jake, I think Jake is also on the chopping block right now too. I mean, who does he really have in this case? Does he have an alliance with anybody besides who does he have an alliance with right now?
Bruce, Kendra, Kelly. I mean, that's kind of the original Bello, right? Kelly. Yeah. I was saying, if Emily plays a really low-key game, it was a little bit crafty. What I could see is her going to the end, being on the final 3, nobody expecting her to win, nobody on the tribal understanding her game. And then Caleb, first member of the jury, since he's such a good salesman, he sells Emily and tells her what it started like. And so Caleb gets his, he gets his redemption on selling them on Emily winning. I think that's like, if I was to create the storybook ending, I mean, that's an interesting one there, right? And then Emily can say, yeah, this is really what happened, right? I played this aggressive game. You all saw it, and I completely changed. And I had this metamorphosis, and I people love that type of story on the jury, right?
They want that hero story. That's what they're looking for. Yeah. Can you imagine if it is Emily, Drew, and Bruce in the final 3? Because like you said, we should have gotten rid of Bruce. We should have gotten rid of Bruce. And now no one's going to vote for him. So he does become a really good goat. Like he could be.
I was thinking he's like a Philip Shepard.
Yeah, exactly.
Where he's so unlikable, right? Or he just rubs people in such the wrong way that nobody respects him. Nobody really sees the game. But there is a method to his madness, right? There is something there that, they said he's an emotional player. He's unpredictable. But maybe, he'll say, in retrospect, well, I had to be that because I was the oldest guy out there and nobody liked me. And so I had to rub people the wrong way. And I had to make it so I was seen as, but it was all part of my plan, right?
Yeah.
And no one will believe it.
Yeah, and nobody will believe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a crazy, wild ending, but he definitely could end up being a goat and coming through. And I love your idea on Caleb really selling Emily to the group, like saying that this was it, and it has been. I keep waiting for it, but I'm almost starting to believe in Emily. And I didn't really want to at first, but I'm kind of like, I'm hoping she'll be the world's greatest villain this season. I honestly do.
What if Emily and Bruce are at the end after that day one showdown they had? And
Ooh.
I wouldn't, that would be cool. I wouldn't like it at all, but that'd be cool.
It would be.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I agreed. Like Emily taking Drew and Austin in the end, that ain't good for her game. I mean,
Mhm.
they would kind of split the votes as far as like who's responsible for what. And so maybe she could sneak in. But if Emily really wants to win the game, she does have to bring like a Jake and a Bruce or a
take
Kat.
Kendra. Take Kendra with you too.
Kendra. Yeah. It is Emily's game. If she can find her way in, seems like she's got a lot of paths forward and really no competition in the type of game that she's playing.
Yeah. Yep.
A lot of other people are playing similar games, but her, and she's the last of the Lulu too.
Mhm.
So
The one and only, she's the Stephanie of the group now at this point. But, I think it's really interesting to see how Emily will play the rest of this game. She is definitely one to watch. I hope that she does have that villainous in her a bit. We saw a glimpse of it when she said, I can't protect Caleb and I'll lie to him if that's what I have to do. And I think, she has the emotional intelligence now. She's really aware because Caleb gave that to her. And I think that she definitely has that part of her that wants to win in I'm going to outwit. I think that's her of the three words, it's outwit. That's her, that would be the one that she gets tattooed on her, right? I can outwit people.
Right.
And I think hopefully we see that. I want some dastardly deeds to go on in this. I love a villain. I really want them to bring, and I think she could have it. We talked last week a little bit about villains. I mean, we need a good villain. I would love to see Emily be that because I think she can show, she's shown that she's grown a bit, but then there's still that side. So let's bring it in and see how she can maneuver her way and bring the right people. I think she should bring Bruce with her. I think that would be a riot and he wouldn't get votes and it elevates her up. And I don't think Austin will be in the final three at all. I don't think he makes it just because even though he's tight with Drew, I just don't see that them coming in there together. I don't think Drew would choose him.
Yeah, I think Austin is playing a game that is not as smart as he thinks it is at this time right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that'll be his downfall. Well, it's that time again.
Poor Jeff.
I love it. You guys know exactly what we're going to talk about. Our sweet little Jeff, the water boy. Where are we? I know, right? It's going to be right in front of you, Alex. It's going to be right there. You're going to be like, I don't know.
Just don't stand up. Don't stand up, Alex.
No. Who wants to go first with our props predicaments of the week?
Just saying, even number.
I don't know. I'm not even noticing Jeff. He's so low key. Jeff is so low key now. And I think the dividing the tribals left him less time to query people and really dive in deep to people. The tribals went pretty fast. There's a lot of build up.
Give Jeff a non 5-star game or 5 torch?
Of course
game?
not. Of course no. I'll give him 4 this time.
Oh.
I'll give him 4 this time. I kind of liked the dual tribal because it ended up getting people off that maybe I didn't. Sifu and Caleb. Like I said, it was an easy vote. So I was like, okay, get out of the way. Let's move on with the game. Let's speed it up a little bit. So I kind of liked it. It turned out to be a boring episode because of it. But
Alex, how would Jeff get a 1 torch rating from you? What would he have to do?
He would have to quit. No, Jeff quits. No, if he leaves the show, then he's done. Or if he's just a big goober about it or something. Yeah, I think this season, because the two people who quit, he hasn't dug into them. I don't know if he continues this behavior. I don't know. We might have to reconsider Jeff's status here. Yeah, go ahead.
Bree, you were talking about needing a villain. Maybe it needs to be Jeff right now. Maybe people to stay on that pole for longer than 16 minutes.
What if Jeff quits and then he comes on as a player? Ooh, I want Jeff to be a player. That would be fun.
That would be fun. I think he would do really, really well. He knows all the challenges. He's pretty good at them. He's got it. I did get to see, so there was a TikTok that went out that I saw also in the Tribe Has Spoken, my wealth of information. Shout out to Raquel over there for putting that back together. And it was a behind the scenes with one of the production crew. And so she's like, I've been working in production for Survivor for the last couple of years. And so what she gets to do is she gets to paint things and set things up. But she's also one of the people that tests out the challenges. And I was thrilled with that. I want to see Jeff do one of the, I want to see him try a challenge. I mean, maybe not quit and go be a player, but I want to see Jeff do one. Out
of all the challenges, which one do you want Jeff to do? That's my question. By the way, I give him 3 torches.
Okay.
So give him 3.
We'll give him the 3. Sorry, Alex. I keep throwing that up right there. We go. Yeah. Which one would I want to see him do?
What challenge would you want Jeff Probst to do of all the challenges you've ever seen?
As much as I want to see him run up a wall and American Ninja Warrior it, I really like that. I want to see him do one of those ones that is the timing thing. What's that one they always do at the end, the last one, where the balls go around and they have to drop them?
The spinning balls with the hand behind their back. Yeah.
One hand behind their back, and they have to keep going on it because, and I'll tell you why I want to see that one. I want to see that one because I want to see one of the other players going, come on, Jeff, you gotta I want to see them telling him he's got to get going and pay attention and watch your timing, Jeff, because I think it gives you, because you can focus right in on him because he's right there. So that's the one I would pick. What about you guys?
Good.
Okay. I'll say my favorite challenges are the final immunity challenge when they're on the cliff and they have to hold on to the idol. And it's just a game of just who can stand there the longest and hold it. And they're usually on 2 kind of pegs. They're standing on these 2 kind of balancing and then hold one hand on the idol. I always love those challenges because I love the pure endurance ones. Even the one with the pole, even though it really wasn't an endurance challenge this time because everybody was such a baby about it. Mm-hmm. But I remember back in the day, they would be there from from noon to night, raining, pouring, holding on the idol. And I'd love to see Jeff do that. But, he's too old. He'd probably say, I've done this. I did this for 40. I'm done. I'm not going on it. You should ask me 20, maybe season 20. I should have gone on. Now it's way too late.
Nachos. Yeah.
Alex, you'd show up there and you'd bring him up you'd just walk in eating a big, huge thing of peanut butter, dipping it with some Hershey's, and just being like, come on, Jeff, keep going, and teasing him with because they always bring food into that too. And people have seen them go for that, but man, yeah. That's a long, arduous one, standing on a pole. And it's the mind slip that actually makes you lose that one because you're there for so long and then something will itch and you'll be like, oh crap. And then you'll move your hand for that split second, that the moment from your brain saying you're hungry, move your hand, or you got an itch, to, oh my gosh, I'm in a challenge still. And that second, they always catch that second when your hand just moves off for that one bit.
Yep. I would like to put Jeff in some Australia Survivor challenge. One is the one with the thorns that are coming down on you as you're playing for top 3 position, I think is what it was. That, or let's put some meat on that stick and have them just eat that. Remember that challenge? I think it was a reward challenge back in the day where you had to put as much of the pig in your mouth and spit in a bowl or whatever. He deserves to do that one after what he put those people through. So those would be the 2 challenges for Jeff.
Wow. Yeah. Poor Jeff. Well, I got to rate him. So let me rate him really quick and see. I have to say, I think Jeff looks younger.
Are you?
No, I think he's reverse aging this season. Okay. I can't, like, I
Is
just
it
don't
more
understand it. But
torches or less torches based on that answer?
I'm gonna give him more torches because no, um, I wanted to see more of the encouragement, like you said, during that challenge. Like, come on, stay up there, and like really, like I would have been like, that was quick, and I would have pointed out the fact that like you're playing for immunity and a reward. Like, dig a little deeper, let's go. And like really, like he just didn't have that, or maybe he just thought he had more time, and they all just start dropping like flies, and he's like, what the hell is happening here? So I don't know, but I want to see him do whatever we can get him to do a little bit more. So I'm gonna go with 2. It wasn't the greatest for me, and but he is looking younger, so good on you for that, Jeff. Sorry.
Yeah, I like the curly long hair. Nice. Yeah, he's looking good. Well, the one challenge we don't need to see him in is the auction, which Survivor Auction is back. They said that on the new episode. Survivor Auction is back. So, well, we got 5 minutes left. What do you guys think? What you guys excited? I mean, I'm obviously excited for the auction. That's one of the best parts, right? But what are you guys anticipating for the auction?
Oh man. Well, of course, food. I definitely want at least 3 or 4 dishes of something delicious. I think they need to take some pages from Australia Survivor. I thought they did the auction very well with those. You must leave this area immediately and go do something. Didn't one year that they got all the different things that are up for auction. So whoever won like a plate of nachos, they also got a plate of nachos. And if they got a shower, they also got a shower. Those were kind of fun. What are you guys thinking?
I want to see some zingers in there. I want to see something that comes through that's like, you don't like, it's a cup of water from the well and a bowl of rice or something. You know what I mean? I like the one I don't want them just to be an automatic. I'm not going to lift the cover and you have to, like, it really makes you question how you're spending your money when you're like bidding on things. And so, but I don't want to see I don't want to see an advantage in it. I don't care. I think I like the letters from home part of it. I think that's always really cool. And I hope that they do that because we don't get the families coming anymore. So when you get that letter from home, it's like a really big deal.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see them do the letters from home. I think that they should like do a $20 bid, stop the bidding, and then everyone gets their letter for $20 or something. I think everybody should get that. I don't think it's so hard to like only get like 1 or 2 people getting that. So, but I want to see some zingers in there. I want to see something that they didn't want. And I do like the ones where they get to share stuff too. Do you like it when they can like pool money and share something?
I think there's pros and cons to it. There's pros and cons. So I can't really think of a moment where I was like, oh, I love it when they pull their letters in because they want somebody to win, like that letter from home. That's always a cool little moment. So I think I would do that, let that happen. I want to change my answer a little bit. I think it'd be classic if they do one of those, hey, you got to go talk to a former survivor on a boat. And have it be like Abby Marie or like Debbie Wanner or whatever her name is, like someone who doesn't play the game, plays the game in awkward fashion. That would just be hysterical.
Yeah, it would be nice if I could see Kendra winning that, and she'd go on the boat and she would hang out with Carolyn, right?
Yeah,
because that would be perfect. I could just see, because they would totally connect.
Yep.
And maybe Kendra would like get some wisdom on how to like finish strong and like keep a poker face, because she's just everything right there. You see all of whatever she's thinking.
Mm-hmm. That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, I just remember the Survivor auction with Brenda, where she wanted food so bad, and then she got pig brain, and she was so depressed and she was so sad. And Jeff was like, "Are you going to eat it anyways?" And she literally took a bite of the pig brain and was like, I don't eat pork. I don't know. I don't like that when they bait and switch, when they get like the pig brain or the slug guts, in the auction. You always want to see everybody like bid on it, and then they reveal it and it's fried chicken, and then they go crazy. I always love that when they like bid on an item and then it's really good. So that's what I like to see. Or last one at the auction, they give them a giant jar of peanut butter. I don't know if you remember that at the all out auctions. They
Oh
gave them a
yeah, and
giant,
they put it
everybody
all
left
over and like
with
lick their finger.
They left
Oh,
with a
yeah,
giant
yeah.
handful of peanut butter that they were just like eating. Oh, so gross. But yeah, I always like the gorge ones, and I do like the ones where they give out an advantage and everybody's waiting to bid 500 on the immunity or on the clue to the immunity or something like that. I do like that on the auction because it gives people a reason to like, gives it some suspense, gives it some, you know, a little bit of gameplay in there instead of just who can eat the most food, who can get the fried, right?
Absolutely.
Right. You're cutting out a lot on us, Alex. Sorry about that, but we got to wrap it up. We are over time by 11 seconds, but man, what a great season. Even though last night was a little bit, you know, not quite as up as we would want it to be, still, you know, it was an exciting episode at the end. We saw two players go home. Caleb went home. Caleb, come back to me. But he made the jury. Will we see Ponderosas this year? I hope we do. Yeah, I'm just excited. I'm excited for this season. I think there's a lot of different ways it can come out. I don't think it's like a straight, like we can't look at it today and say this is what's going to happen. I think we're all still guessing and doing our best to kind of put together who we think is going to make it to the end. So there's no guarantees with anybody right now. So yeah.
Well, I think we gave some good predictions today on possible situations that could happen for Emily or for Julie or for Dee. So I guess we'll have to wait till next week.
Yeah. Thank you for being here again, Brandon. We got to come back and hang out with us. We love it. And we will see everybody next week. Keep that torch lit, I guess.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everybody.